beginning as all the nations saw the crumble and how they don't have much expansionist opportunities, so they go here. With the Orange Nation annexing this country's colony, as there's no one can stop them, as that country got kicked out of Europe, kinda. As they aim to take over this colony, and then they see another nation. They go south and realize this is a good opportunity. Soon other nations will probably catch on. And as you can see, this is quite a bit of expansion. By hearing about the goals of what they call, whatever they call them, what can I say for barbarian? Yeah, I don't know. As they start their goal to do it too, and they skip the nation, oops. And soon other nations start realizing this nation decides to go all the way and land against one of the stronger nations. And within a few days, in a few months, they conquer it. As they start colonizing more, one nation realizes this is a bad situation. And they decide to get some of its neighbors to join them. Kind of like the nation in this region in our timeline. With this nation believing they're telling the truth, these two nations just cause. And they manage to get this nation, that nation, that nation. That's the ocean. This nation, this nation, this nation, this nation. And that nation under its control, telling them it will protect them. As they create a strong military, the nations surrounding it are scared about what could happen. But they wave it off, saying they're probably lies. Some nations won't get colonies here because they're conquered. And yes, those nations are the same one. And they expand north to form their colonies. And they go over into this nation, realizing it'll help them invade other nation that didn't realize they were likely coming. Well, Russia basically owns the eastern areas. So they won't go after this, despite it being, not Russia, the Yellow Nation. Despite probably being a good opportunity. With this nation realizing, yeah, maybe we should. Wait, I think the other nation annexed this. Let's pretend they didn't. As they then annex this nation. And this nation, with all the nations racing to take over these lands. With two more nations, probably. Going to start stuff. This nation starts heading. And they decide to start over here. Well, you see this nation decides to come. And I don't know, but they do this. With the nations who may have or may have not listened, not liking this. In fact, they didn't listen. They now realize might have been a bad idea. And well, this nation annexes a bunch, including that nation. This nation goes on a colonization campaign as they decide to move north. And after moving north, through the south, they come into this nation. And then they decide to go after this nation, with one more nation they go after. This nation down here going on an expansion campaign. As for a while, these nations are able to maintain their independence through a union. And a lot of the nations realize they should calm down. Let's just press select all, that'll make it easy. And as you can see, this is a massive colony. All they need to do is somehow find out to take over the monster nation here. And no, I don't mean that I use monster in every video where give the empire a name. No. What color could I make? Oh yeah, a green nation would be cool here. Because it can be like a Greenland thing. Why is it this color? Because it makes no sense to be. That's why it's that color. As the Sahara nations made, and none of the nations want to venture into there. A, they're trying to continue their empire's expansion. Or B, it's not very logistical. No, a nation starts its rebuilding plans. And the nation to the north of them still runs on expansion campaigns. Even though they don't even need to. Because they're so massive. But they do so anyways. Well, why are they expanding into the small nations? Well, being divided isn't a great thing. Oh wait, I just flooded the land. Oops. And well, these nations decide to join them. Why? Because they're seen as logistically reasonable. Not logistically, am I saying? And this nation expanding really far to the west. And well, their expansion campaigns are more self-interest than any other reason. Expansion is not the best thing. There's nobody liking the Yellow Nation anymore. Except maybe the Gold Nation, who decides to finish off this nation. And they make some more puppets. With Everite just expanding in this region. Complaints are being too many nations. It went from not enough to too many. Now it's back to not enough. Now some nations are probably happy about this. Well, one nation decides to go on an expansion campaign. And I say one. It turns out it's not just one. They have an ally. Yes, these two nations are allies now. Apparently. And then the southern country, I guess you could call it, decides peace is definitely their best option. To puppet and annex quite a bit of land, while the other nation just annexed land. And you see the small pink nation? It's going to be forced into a union. Definitely. With the reorganization of these colonies happening. As they've grown in population so much, they decide to redraw the borders in 3 areas. Some become more colonies, and some become less. As in the area here, they give nicer borders. And, yeah, probably the same amount of nations. They make one there, one colony here, and one over here, due to population increases. With a lack of population up here in the north, they make this, one up there. And now that this colony kind of looks like a very big Hungary, they decide to divide this. This is quite a bit of a population. And then here gets divided into more. As over here, they divide it like this. Well, this nation splits this into 2 colonies and this into another one. That's such a big population now. With the colony here, this one ending up split due to population in just this area. being changed. And fully redraw the borders at all. And then here is starting to get populated, so they do this. And same with over here. And well, that's pretty much all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out. Bye, guys!